Welcome to Go Rangers Radio, where the New York Rangers are always the talk of the town. If you bleed red, white, and Rangers blue, hail the king, follow the bread man, and know how to spell Capo Caco, then you've tuned to the right place. And now, here are your handsome hosts, Kevin DeLury and Paul Cuthbert. They're not always going to get it right, but you can be damn sure they'll pretend they are. Now, let's go Rangers Radio.
Yeah, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Go Rangers Radio. Broadcasting live from the Go Hockey Media Studios in New York, baby. Yours truly, Mr. Paul Cuthbert. And everybody, please say hello to your friend and mine, Mr. Kevin DeLury. KD, let's go Panthers.
What's going on, Paulie? You know, I'm just sitting here trying to figure out what was decimated more by a hurricane yesterday, my neighborhood or the Rangers.
I'm going to say both, baby.
It does. Both my neighborhood and the Rangers are in shambles today. So, yeah, pretty close.
2020 rolls on, brother.
Amazing.
What a year it's been.
Yep.
Well, here we are, buddy. Welcome aboard, everybody. Whether you're listening live or you're listening to us later or you're listening to us tomorrow. Episode 37. This is what it is. Rangers have been eliminated from the qualifying round of the Stanley Cup tournament.
So glad we waited 3 months for 3 games. Awesome.
Are you still complaining? Are you still complaining?
Well, I just find it, actually what's hysterical is that, you know, for however many podcasts while we were waiting for this qualifying round to start, you know, I just kept talking about, like, are they going to get it in? And is COVID going to shut it down? And this or that? And what do we get? All that for 3 lousy games.
Yeah,
awful.
It's funny because I was listening back to the episode today. I had a bunch of errands running around, scooting through Lowe's and Stop and Shop for the family. And I was just catching up on just a night ago and all the BS that came out of our mouths before this final game. But that was the fun thing. That's when I said, what, are you still complaining? Because, like I said, you had touched base on the fact that, you know, we had waited, and then you said you weren't really feeling the excitement of the games. and then you were like, oh, well, I guess I should be happy we got sports back. But now our guys are out of it. So, you know, what do we do now, KD?
Seems like a waste. Seems like it was all a waste. At least the Ranger fans, anyway. Every other team is still playing. Even the Panthers, like you said, the Panthers, you know, staved off elimination today against the Islanders. I tell
you what, that was a breath of fresh air because it was nice to see Islanders Twitter go bonkers the way we were going bonkers last night. So it's nice to at least have at least the Islander fans are going through a little bit of stress, you know? So if we can take some kind of enjoyment out, I'm telling you right now, buddy, they better not lose that series. Because then at least we'll be able to continue to have some fun here. Good luck, buddy. It's unfortunate. We were kind of hoping that tonight we'd be talking about, what would that have been, Game 4 coming up, I guess, and everything that we kind of rolled through, and we did. You know, I can speak for myself, just kind of, you know, I was probably a little nauseating to anybody listening to the show the other night about just keeping coming back to the same old thing as far as how the guys should play and what we were going to hope to see. And we got a little bit of it in the first period, and the guys played okay. And then, man, and we'll get into it later, but I kind of want to hand it off to you and just kind of get I want you to take the lead on this because, again, the third period just, you know, I got my comments on this, but I want you to just kind of, I want you to kick things off, KD, with what you thought of the game itself and just going from point to start to finish there.
Yeah, I mean, I think what we saw in the first 2 periods is what we hadn't seen in the first 2 games, which was effort. You know, shots on goal, crashing the net, everything that we spoke about on Monday that they weren't doing, they were actually doing. I mean, Chris Kreider showed up and scored a goal. However quick that was, 14 seconds into the second period, or however quick it was, and here we go. But unfortunately, one of the things that we talked about on Monday was that Quinn was really. I said I wanted Panarin to play 30 minutes. Now he did play 23 minutes, which is a lot. But, after they scored that goal, the fourth line is out there. They get stuck out there. Carolina makes the change to their first line, from their fourth to their first line, while our fourth line gets stuck on the ice, and they tie it right back up. And, that was a huge moment in the game, again, with the fourth line out there. And, when, back in the day when Torch was running thing with the Rangers, he leaned on his guys. There was a ton of guys who got, Stu Bickled, back when Torch was running things. And I just think in a game like that, in a situation that we're in, a 5-game series, I would have stapled that fourth line to the bench. And unfortunately, that was the line that was again out there that gave up, the goal for Carolina to take the lead in the third period. So, I do have issues with what Quinn was doing, with his lineup again. I just didn't need see the fourth line in that third period. But, even before that, I thought the Rangers were playing very well, and I tweeted it out today. I think the biggest moment of the game was there at the end of that second period when Lemieux couldn't score and Vatanen jumped in the way of the puck. It squirts over to Hedel. He has the entire net open except for Reimer's arm, who's making a Hail Mary effort just to do something, and Hedel, shoots it right into his arm, and that was it. I mean, that was at the end of the period. I saw a number of Hurricanes just fly over to Reimer. They were fired up, and they went into the locker room fired up, and I got to assume the Rangers went into that second intermission just, feeling real low, feeling down, and carried over into the third period because the Rangers were not the same team they were in the first two periods, and Carolina got a jolt from it, and that was the game. To me, that was the turning point. That you could have turned off the TV then, because Carolina came out like the team you saw the first two games, and the Rangers looked like the team you saw the first two games, and it was game over, season over. So they had their chance there. They couldn't score. That was the biggest problem in this entire series, was not being able to finish, and it bit them in the game three.
Yes, agree with all of it there. It's a pretty good take on the whole thing. And again, we sit here and I've said it multiple times on Monday night. You just scratch your head. I guess I mean, Reimer just stood on his head. I mean, how does that happen? The guy hasn't played.
He's a backup goalie. That's what the Rangers do against backup goalies. We make him look like Patrick Waugh.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how sometimes when they do lose like this, it's the same old points that come up. Backup goalie, a guy who hasn't played a while, somebody scores a goal that hasn't scored in like 6 years, and so on and so forth.
Well, I will say this though, with Reimer and the first two periods, while the effort was head and shoulders ahead of what we saw in the first two games, and they had a ton of shots on goal. I really don't know if the quality of those shots, except for that sequence right there, were really all that tough. I mean, again, you saw an increase in the shots and the volume of shots. I don't know if the quality of shots was better. I think that they were shooting more, and I talked about this on the last show, with a purpose. You saw more rebounds out there, but they were still just firing them from the sideboards, or the first shot that led to the rebound really wasn't, they were mostly harmless. So while the effort was just their offense, which was the linchpin for this team all year, just was not there. Kreider scored a goal, but other than that, he wasn't necessarily dominating. Again, Panarin wasn't dominating. Zibanejad, these guys, all year carried the load, and they just didn't in the series.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. You take the games and you sit back here and you're trying to evaluate, and it's not on us, obviously. We're just fans, and we're just checking this out and, scratching our heads and everything. And, the coaches are in there. This is their system. This is their team. They know what's going on in the bubble. I mean, do we still know what happened to Shesterkin in the first 2 games? I don't know. We have no idea. I was wondering about conditioning for this team, too, as far as, just not having it, maybe not having it mentally. Obviously not finishing, burying the chances that they had. And I think Brindamore kind of, you can talk about how well the Rangers played the first 2 periods yesterday, but I almost kind of, then when the whole game ends, it's almost like, Brindamore and these guys kind of, we kind of let them come at them, and Reimer played really well, obviously, and kept them in the game. And then, because that, like I said, that third period was just like, they were gassed. I mean, the Rangers didn't want the puck at the end. There was a couple of sequences there where they would just, whoever got the puck sent it back right to the other guy. They weren't looking for smart pass plays. There was no real breakout. There just didn't seem to be any kind of plan. And something else here I want to say about the whole thing, too. Oh, yeah, I mean, obviously, the first goal Carolina gets, with Stahl not having his stick, he breaks his stick. I mean, and I tweeted about it. I sat there and I said, I can't believe this is happening. It was like over a minute. And none of the forwards, it's just general fundamental hockey that you hand your stick to the defenseman so he can clear out the crease or whatever the heck it is, and then you either run or you put pressure on the wingers at top if you're a forward. That doesn't happen. I couldn't believe that didn't happen, that none of the forwards were, or there was no communication or nobody yelled. So it leads to the goal, boom, and they were gassed and everything else, and they couldn't clear the puck. But just that basic fundamental hockey defensive thing that they did not do, again, a professional hockey team, just blows my mind. And then later on, I think it was the second period, obviously, or I can't exactly remember when, but, and then Shesty loses his stick behind the net. And neither defenseman give him that. That's, again, it's fundamental hockey. Goaltender loses stick. Defenseman gives stick to goaltender. And again, it doesn't happen. So this kind of swings back around to, and we can beat, I don't know where to go here, KD, because we talked a lot about this on Monday, and it kind of rolled right through. Okay, they take the 2 first periods. They lost. They're out. They're done. And, to me, just some of the basic stuff there as far as conditioning, and maybe these guys weren't ready, and they just didn't have the gas there to, outside of all the mental breakdowns, outside of all the offensive frustrations. But, again, we're talking about experienced guys up front. We brought up on Monday, Kreider, Panarin, Zibanejad. They're experienced guys. They weren't involved as much as they should have been. And then, like I said, the defense obviously struggling itself as it is. And then just those basic mental breakdowns in a playoff game. So, to me, they're out, and they deserve to be out. As much as we love them and we wanted to go, and I did say it on Monday that, if they had a won last night, I think they would have, obviously, Captain Obvious, turned the series around, give them a chance Game 4, but that's where you build momentum. But, yeah, those first 2 periods, good, and then the third period, it was just like, I think all of us watching that third period was like, are you kidding me? And then they got to change the hashtag. They quit. They quit, KD. They quit in the middle of that third period. Even before Ahu put that gorgeous goal and nail in the coffin, man. They quit, man. They were done.
Yeah, I think that a lot of the breakdowns that you're bringing up here, mental, physical, I think you can just attribute it, and I brought this up on Monday, to just the break that they went to. You just didn't know how these teams were going to react to it. And from what we saw, the Rangers didn't react very well. Like you said, whether it was these guys went home and they really didn't continue to work out, and then they came back, out of shape, and Quinn didn't really put them through a rigorous camp, which he admitted he wasn't doing. He said that he was just, picking up where they left off, and nobody needed to fight for a spot, and maybe that type of attitude backfired on him. But, it's tough to kill him or even the players for, that. I almost, I hate to say it. I almost want to say this is just like a throwaway. I mean, it's really hard to assess what went wrong here because of everything else involved with it. I can second guess Quinn not making it a rigorous camp when they come back, but again, he's never had to deal with this before. I mean, this is a second-year coach trying to figure out how to coach a team in the middle of a pandemic. I mean, talk about unusual circumstances.